Better popcorn than jelly beans.
Good evening and welcome. The board just returned from closed session and no action was taken. I will call this meeting to order at 7:05. Thank you. And roll call, Mr. Bell.
Here.
Mrs. Carroll. Here. Dr. Finley.
Here.
Mrs. Koo. Here. And Reina Diaz here. At this
Madam
time,
President?
yes, sir.
Just a reminder to members of the board, this is our first meeting back in the session in the community center. So I would remind you anytime that you do make a comment to turn your mic on and speak directly into the mic so that way the audio that is being streamed, the public can hear it as well. So it'll be a little bit of off on, but just make sure you're directly into your mic. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Emerson. At this time, I would ask Dr. Emerson to please lead us in the flag salute, then a moment of reflection, and you will continue with belief, vision, and mission.
Thank you, Madam President. Please rise and cover your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A moment of silent reflection.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Our beliefs. We believe we are a community of learners. We believe learning occurs in a culture of caring and respect. We believe all students are motivated to learn when they are engaged in meaningful work that connects to their lives. We believe expectations do influence performances and outcomes. We believe learning increases when there are high expectations for performance and conduct. And we believe we have the responsibility to find solutions that enable all students to learn. Our vision, 21st century schools producing 21st century students. And our mission, provide the knowledge, skills, and inspiration for each student for success in college, career, and life. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Dr. Emerson. We now move to item 7, the adoption of the agenda. I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Bell.
Second.
Second by Dr. Finley. Any discussion? And I will, Mercedes, I'm sorry, I need to know, did I call by name in this one now that we're in public? No, yes, all in favor, right? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? No, 5-0. Thank you. Superintendent report.
Thank you, Madam President. So first and foremost, I'd like to start this evening by just saying a hearty welcome back to our community, to all of our students, staff, and families. You know, it's been a long road. We were reflecting on the last 18 months, and the last time that we had a public school board meeting was, well, there have all been public school board meetings, but a public in-person school board meeting was back on March the 13th of 2020. And on that day, that's when the board took the bold action to vote unanimously to close our schools for what we thought was going to be 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks turned into 4 weeks, and 4 weeks turned into 2 months, and 2 months turned into, albeit almost 18 months. But with that being said, we have done outstanding work as a school community, and that's from top to bottom. That's from our parents to our staff, to our teachers, to all of our personnel, and the leadership of this board to prepare our schools to manage and open in person in the middle of a pandemic. And that is not an easy thing to do, and it is not a clean process to do, because the pandemic is still here, and it is still real, and it is still impacting us. And so we are taking all the precautions necessary and all of the mitigation techniques that we can to do what we can to make sure that we can keep our kids in school and keep our schools open. And so from that standpoint, I'm very, very excited about the first week of school and what our principals and our staff and our students are doing during this really continue to be an unprecedented time. And so for that, I do think that we should celebrate some of the things that we know happened during this period. Over the course of the summer, and you'll remember back into the spring, we began to reintroduce in-person instruction. We started to bring students back. It was in a hybrid format, but that was really where we were starting to see what we could do in an in-person instructional format while we were still navigating the beginnings of a vaccination process, the beginnings of trying to see what we were going to be able to do in what we would call a post-COVID reality. And that spring proved that we could start this transition process. And then the summer really, really showed us that we had some really good practices, some really good protocols, and some really, really energetic students and staff to come back. And so during the summer, there were lots of successes and lots of things and lots of lessons that we learned. And so for that, I want to say thank you to all of our students, all of our scholars, for their resilience, their perseverance, and their fortitude to navigate this period. I want to say thank you to all of our staff, to our line item staff, to our nutrition services staff, our M&O staff, our tech staff, all of our principals, all of our front office staff, and all of our classroom teachers for everything that they've done to get us to this point. And then I want to thank the community, because I think that we only do this because we do this work together, and we have a community that has stayed really, really tightly knit together and working in collaboration for the betterment of the community. And so I just want to celebrate and say thank you for that. And I want to talk about the road ahead. So the road ahead, again, it is bumpy. We still have a Delta variant that is raging all over this country, and both regionally and locally as well. We continue to push as much as possible for folks to be vaccinated, because we think that that is the path forward. We think that that's the scientific best path for us to move ahead. And we're going to continue to contact, trace, and test and mitigate best we can, because it is my expressed interest, and I've shared this with members of the board, to do everything that we can to keep our schools open and keep our kids safe. And then finally, my last comment that I'll make for tonight, I personally am a very, very proud papa. I'm a very proud dad today, because the Amerson family finally has a teenager. My son turned 13 today and is enjoying a lovely steak dinner while I'm here with all of you. And I am happy to be here, but I am happy and proud of my son Donovan on his 13th birthday. And I look forward to spending time with him over the course of the next several days. And with that, Madam President, that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Dr. Emerson, and happy birthday to your son. We now move to request to address the board. At this time, the persons who have turned in the cards will be called by name. So Dr. Emerson.
Just one clarification. I want to ask Mercedes, we also have, do we have virtual comments as well? Okay. Okay. And how, or is there a certain order we're going to do those in? We'll do those at the end. Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you. And so with that, I would invite Teresa Mathenia. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Matheny. All right. Matheny. Teresa Matheny. Thank you for your time to address the board. You have 3 minutes. I'll let
Okay,
you know
I
if
won't
it's
take that
finished.
long. Just want to say thank you for coming back into in-person, Dr. Emerson and all the board. Good evening. I just wanted to, and I don't think this will be a problem, but I just wanted to address the board to just encourage you guys to keep the mask mandates despite what happens, because all of the media shows in other states, in Iowa and in Florida and Texas, and I have family there that tell me that it's raging, the virus is raging, this is real. So no matter what happens, no matter if, I'm not gonna get political, no matter what happens or who takes office or whatever, just please keep the mandates, because like myself, and I have other parents that really are abiding by these mask mandates. Myself and my children, my 9th grader and my 7th grader are fully vaccinated, but we still wear masks. My kids wear masks in the vehicle with me. So they are really serious about this. They have educated me on some things. And I just really want to encourage you guys just to keep it no matter what happens, because at the least, we can do this if people have reservations with getting the vaccinations, which I understand, but at least we can do this. My children lost their grandfather from this virus. He was 60 years old, and he was a really, I guess a real staple to our family. So we lost him in June, and they are really affected by this. So at the least, wearing the mask, it just shows those kids who have been affected by it and their families have been affected by it, that we're taking it seriously. And we're not just worried about our own comfortability, but we're just trying to do the best we can to get through this as a family in the wording. Okay, that's all.
Thank you. Our next speaker that we invite is Jocelyne Minster. And you have 3 minutes.
Hi, this is actually my first time, so I didn't even know I was going to be talking. So I know that I only have 3 minutes, so I was trying to jot everything down. My issue that I wanted to bring up was my kids go to Royal Oaks Elementary School, and yesterday my son was called to be picked up because another child had COVID. So with all that said, I had wrote to the principal and had mentioned a few things. I haven't heard from her yet, but on disinfectant wipes. If in the schools, if the kids, when they enter the classroom, if we can have the disinfectant wipes for them when they enter, and just take the time, just even to hurry up, put the the hand sanitizers in their hands, and then possibly just clean your desks and your chairs. I think that if we can have the kids, especially the junior high kids, the older kids, if they can do that, because they're old enough to know now, I think that the spread hopefully won't be as bad. But now with my son having to stay home for a few days now, he's lost out. He's lost out a few days now of school because now you have to stay home and you have to quarantine. So according to what was told to us, the child had the COVID, it was last Friday, but we were just notified as of yesterday. So we had to pull our kids out. 5 kids were removed, about 4 or 5. And my husband brought it up to their attention that why is it that these particular kids were pulled out? And she had said it was because it has to be 6 feet away. The kids have to be 6 feet apart. But now you're in a classroom with all the kids, and then that one particular child is infected, and you're in the classroom for more than 15 minutes, and you're in an enclosed area like this. You've got the air condition blowing, and you're all breathing in the same air, right? So now we have those kids that are quarantined, but what about the rest of the classroom? So that was a concern, as a parent, that I wanted to address to her, to just let her know that, hey, you've got just these students that are now going home, but what about the rest? So from that child who's infected, he's gone now to the next classroom. Now the next student has sat down and used the same desk he's used. So now it's gonna, now the variant is spreading because it's going from one child to the next. So that's just the one thing I wanted to address for the schools is that how are we keeping this protocol, safe for our kids? Because at the same
That's
token,
time.
the health check that they want the parents to do every single day, I'll tell you, I do it for my kids. I have my son show it, but nobody's checking. The kids are all going in. So how do I know as a parent, that every child is safe? You're having us do this, you're having us do this health check, but nobody's checking. They're just walking in. So that's my
Sorry,
concern
Jocelyne,
as
I
well.
gotta cut you off. Yeah, no,
And I work for the
apologize.
Red Cross. I'm sorry to
Yeah, no,
say
no,
it,
not a problem. I just want to
in
make sure we
healthcare.
mention it.
So,
Thank you very much.
yeah, no problem.
we're
Thank
gonna-
We
you.
will-
We're gonna make sure that the superintendent follow up.
We will follow up.
Thank you so much.
100%.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Frank Tavakot. Say it again, sir. Tavakoli? Come on forward, sir. And you have 3 minutes, sir.
Good afternoon to all of you. My name is Frank Tavakoli. By trade, I'm engineer, and I've been an educator for the past 10 years at the high school, college, at the university level. The reason I'm here is present myself to the board that I'm trying to provide some funding from foundations to your early college program. And I'm trying to communicate with Mr. Harrow's office to let them know what are the potentials that are available and expand the program. Currently, they're only working with Citrus College. My intention is to bring the staff from Cal Poly Pomona on a trade and put some trade classes in there. As soon as the kids going in there, encourage the kids to go to this program so they have a better job security. So that's the reason I'm here. So hopefully I get a green light from his office so I can bring some money to the school.
Madam President, I would love to make sure that we have staff this evening just connect with you before you leave. So make sure we have your contact information. And we can also work with contacting and
sure.
connecting with Mr. Harrow.
Right now, the foundations are providing, one foundation, I know they already appropriated $4 billion to the university and colleges, to mostly to the minority type of a school, but nothing for the high school. And I saw that Duarte is a perfect target. And since I've been an educator, been doing a job, I know what it takes to get a better job, not really getting a degree, but proper education, a good trade classes. That's what it really takes. And encourage them. The people don't get what they want at college. The foundation start at high school. I've been teaching at high school and I've been teaching at college. If they don't grasp what it is important, they're going to miss the boat at the university.
Thank you, Mr.
appreciate it.
Kawakabe. We
Thank you, ma'am.
appreciate
We will
that.
follow up with you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, we have Paul Santillan. That sound right, or did I butcher that? Santillan. All right, there we go, Santillan. 3 minutes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Paul Santillan. I have a 7th grader at Royal Oaks. I just have a couple concerns about physical education. They stress in the syllabus, they stress to the student, bring clothes to change, and he says there is nowhere for them to change. So I haven't been able to get any answers from the school or staff, so I'm hoping to get answers from somebody. And then my other issue is the COVID compliance, as there's been 2 kids tested positive in that school. And nobody was notified, any parents, only a certain amount of parents who they thought their kids were in close contact with those other students that tested positive. And I don't think that's cool. I mean, everybody should know, as this is a serious, virus or whatever it is that you say is going on. And I was wondering if there's anybody sanitizing desks in between periods. I know it sounds hard to do, but or like she mentioned, maybe you could pass out a wipe, a Clorox wipe or Lysol wipe to each student. They could wipe down their own desk or chair, anything. And that's pretty much all I'm concerned about. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Santillan.
Yes, sir. All right, and our next speaker is Kalpana Shah.
Hello.
3 minutes.
Didn't we have 5 minutes before?
We did.
Can I have the 5, please?
Unfortunately, it's 3.
3 it is, timer. Okay, so as you know, DHS was identified with a positive case, and the only students who were notified were who were sitting within 6 feet of the index, or not index case, the student with the potential infection. The problem with that is that these students are sitting in the same classroom for 50 minutes in a closed door environment, and the class is about 12 by 12. Don't tell me. Oh, I forgot to mention and introduce myself. My name is Kalpana Shah, and I have a 10th grader at DHS. And I am speaking to you not just as a parent, but also as an epidemiologist. Without dating myself, the last epidemic we had was the AIDS epidemic. And even though I no longer work as an epidemiologist, it's hard to see some of the decisions the school district is making. It just doesn't make sense, and it shows me that they don't understand how the disease works. So I'm not talking, I mean, you guys do great, but your job is to make sure we're meeting the minimum requirement. I want the board to do more than minimum. I want board to do things that's better for the community and better for the kids. So what I'm suggesting is maybe some of you will think, oh, that's just over the top. But having seen what happens in other school districts, other colleges, I think the writing's on the wall. If we don't plan this, then we will impact our community greatly. So based on the current data, approximately 35% of our teenagers are vaccinated. So I'm going to talk about DHS because Royal Oaks and the kids aren't vaccinated yet. So I'll just stick to that. The other item, so going back to the issues, only the parents of the students within the 6 feet identified. Given how in close proximity they are, the entire class the parents needs to be identified, not just the 6 feet. These, second item, the vaccinated students can come back to school next day. Again, even if they're vaccinated, they can still transmit the virus. And the worst part is that their symptoms will be so minor, or maybe so much more minor than those who are not vaccinated, that they will think, oh, it's just a sore throat. I stayed up too late. Oh, that's why my throat is hurting. So they're even more dangerous than those who are not vaccinated. Not that I'm suggesting that everybody stay at home. I'm not suggesting that. However, I do think the idea of letting the vaccinated students come back is a recipe for spreading the virus faster. So the second issue is teachers are being left to deal with the issues on their own. So some teachers are not using textbook in the class. They're asking students to take a picture of the textbook and use that. Come on, with all the money we got, we can't afford e-textbooks. I know there's some sort of copyright violation with students having to take the pictures of the textbook though. So please do something about it. And you know what? I'm not saying the teachers are wrong. I understand the teacher doesn't want to use the textbook because you use it in, let's say, period 2. Then you have somebody in period 4 who's sick. Now you're going to be, it's on their hand. They touch the book. Now you're passing it on to not just the period the student was in, but now you're passing on to the other. Okay, so my suggestion, entire class should be notified of the exposure since the students spent 55 minutes, there's no air purifier and the doors are closed. Each class should have hand sanitizer as they enter the class. Each class should have disinfecting wipes the students can use to wipe their desk. There should also be hybrid learning. So when the students are asked to stay at home, they're not missing out on the learning. Because I heard that they have homework on Google Classroom, right? But if they didn't learn, they weren't in the class, how can they do the homework?
That's
So-
time count. No, I gotta stop you.
I know.
Gotta stop you. But
So-
what I would ask you to do is your recommendations that you have. We'll have our staff here and we can definitely share the full list of recommendations with the board. We'd be happy to do that. I just got to keep us to our 3 minutes because it's fair to everybody.
I understand, and I'm really hoping that the board will take this to heart and do a little more than just what's required by the LA County. So thank you again for keeping our community safe.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Kalpa. Mercedes, we're gonna have two more, but I wanna go out of order. Would you allow me, please? I'm gonna do something, and I'm gonna show the public something. I love how all of you are so concerned about the virus. But here was a sign. And here are Lysol. And who did follow the directions? And we are adults. I'm not saying you're wrong. I really appreciate what you're doing today. I'm amazed to see parents concerned. But that's my main concern, that kids don't follow the orders or the idea. As soon as I walked in, I saw the microphone, I saw the sign, and I just passed by and I started looking at you, at your faces. Thank you for doing what you're doing, but remember that the teachers are there and it's hard for them to control many people. But the idea was that everyone came here and put their hands here. I can see the fingerprints and the microphone. And the idea was just to everyone to come and clean up. And that's it. It's just not to open a discussion, but to tell you, thank you for what you're telling us what's going on, because you are our way to communicate. But it's hard to follow sometimes because it is here. So thank you to all of you. I was worried about 15 minutes.
No blame, no shame, but it's a good reminder.
It is just a reminder. It is.
And Madam President, it is my understanding that the 2 virtual comments will not be occurring. So
Okay,
we can move
perfect.
to the next
Okay,
portion of. the
thank
agenda.
you. Okay, we now continue with general fund actions, and I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of July 15, 2021, and the special meeting of July 27, 2021. I need a motion.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Bell, second by Mrs. Carroll. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Aye by all. Move to item 10.2, approve the consent calendar. If we don't have any objections about the consent calendar, I'm gonna need a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Madam President, if there's no objection, I say we approve this matter. This
It
consent
was,
calendar.
it was moved by Mr. Bell, second. Second by Mrs. Koo. And all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Okay, moving to item 11, personal and student services. Proclamation 02/21/22, declaration September as Attendance Awareness Month. I need a motion. Moved by Mr. Bell, second by Mrs. Carroll. Any discussion? Any opposition? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Item 11.2, extension of management contracts. I need a motion.
Move to approve?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Bell, second by Dr. Finlay. Any comments?
I have a question
Sure. Go ahead.
regarding the contracts, Dr. Emerson. Is there any, as we read, there's no increases or any additional fringe benefits that they'll be getting under the contracts?
Thank you, Vice President Carroll, for the question. At this time, we are simply requesting an extension of the term of the contracts for our directors. It does not include any salary increases, and it also does not include any fringe benefit changes or increases. This is simply an extension on the term. And one of the things that we wanted to make sure to share with the board, that this is really about continuity of leadership, continuity of the leadership team, making sure that those folks had an extension of the contract to make sure that the work that we're doing can continue with a solid team and continue to move that work forward. So that's our recommendation for the board's consideration.
Sorry, it just it came to me now. Is this a yearly, do we do this yearly or is it every, I mean, in the past?
Yeah, it doesn't have to happen every
Okay.
year. And in this particular circumstance, these particular contracts are going to be 2-year extensions. And so in an effort to not have them in the final year of their contract, we normally will look at them every year and extend them an additional 2 years, but it really kind of cycles on and off to keep them where they're not in their final year of the contract agreement. But it doesn't have to happen every single year, but that's kind of the cycle that we're following.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Cece. All in favor? Or any other discussion, any comment? No? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, 5. And believe it or not, we are moving to item number 12, non-agenda item. So, Mr. Bell.
Welcome back, all of us. And again, I just listened with a heartfelt feeling of some of the concerns that a lot of the parents, and even some of our employees have felt. But I want to say thank you very much, Dr. Emerson, for your staff and your leadership, going all the way back, starting with us getting the shots and us being able to take care of our students and our staff in the community. I want to say thank you very much for your leadership during this real tumultuous time. And I think that we have a good opportunity to really break loose this year. So thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Mrs. Carroll.
Yes, hi. I'm echoing a lot of the concerns here. I really am, 'cause I do have a child at DHS and same thing. It's always ever changing, evolving, and it's confusing a little bit. So everyone had a great concern, and I totally take that in because we're in, we're like I said, it's always changing, and we never know what the CDC is saying and what we need to do. But I'm going to talk about my son at DHS because starting school this last week, I have to say he's extremely happy to be there. He's excited. Actually, he's getting up earlier than he would have normally gotten. So I think just coming back is even though during this time it's such a wonderful thing, just to see the teachers and the friends he had, and he's excited. So I'm happy as a parent to see my child happy. Another thing too, I got to go to several open or back to school nights, Maxwell and Valley View. I hit those 2 schools, and I just love to see the teachers, how excited they are to teach our children. I actually was so excited to see how excited they are and how wonderful and how great our schools are. And every school's a little different. And I got to learn more about Maxwell, and Valley View was my child's school. So I did know a little bit more about Valley View, but it's amazing the IB program in Maxwell too. So I just wanted to just say, I appreciate everyone in this process, Dr. Emerson, our staff, our board, and our parents and our teachers especially too. So thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Carroll. Dr. Finlay.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. So I'll go ahead and echo what Vice President Carroll said.
I really do appreciate the parents coming out and speaking about these matters that very much affect them and their families. It is really important for us to get this right, and we're going to do what we need to do to make people feel safe and protected, and I think that's really important. It's an important part of being able to be in a positive learning environment is feeling safe, whether that's physically safe or emotionally safe or whatever it is. It's important for people to feel safe and protected. So we're going to work on that. We're going to get it. We're going to get it to the best of our abilities. I want to say how great it's been to have my kids back in school as well. This year, so a couple of years ago was a very magical year in the Finley household because all three of our kids were at the same school right around the corner from our house, which was extremely convenient. And this year, it is a little bit less convenient. We have the three kids at three different schools. So it's made pickup and drop off a little more interesting than normal. But seeing my kids, I really didn't the whole time during distance learning. If you would have asked me, like, how are your kids doing? I said, they're doing fine. They're doing their thing. They're getting through their classes. They're doing fine. But as I look back through their eyes now, they're so much happier now. Again, they weren't depressed or anything, at least not that I perceived, but they're just, they come home from school, they're just chatterboxes now, they're bubbly, they're talking about what, so-and-so had for lunch and what this person said in class, and just lots and lots of back and forth. And it's been a really a positive change. So I'm glad that we're able to be back. I'm going to empathize a little bit with Dr. Amerson now having a teenager under his roof. I have had one for about 1.5 years now. It's special. It's special. My daughter, who is our teenager, and our son is going to be one next year. They are. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Maybe because I was thinking of myself as a teenager, and they haven't. I don't want to say risen to that level or sunk to that level, whichever one it is. They haven't done it yet. So yeah, it's a good, exciting time. But anyway, it's been great to be back on campuses during the back to school nights. Both Valley View and Maxwell, they're doing amazing stuff. It is so good to see how creative teachers and staff are being about keeping people safe, about educating students, and it's really a joy to see what's being done. So I just want to thank staff and teachers for everything that they're doing, and also for parents trusting their most prized possessions to DUSD on a daily basis. That's something that I don't think anybody in the district or anyone on the board takes lightly. We realize that your kids are the most important thing, and we want to make sure that you feel that we realize that. And I'll end on that.
Thank you, Dr. Finley. Mrs. Koo?
So I just wanted to echo a lot of what everyone has said. I've had the opportunity to go to a few back to school nights, and I think it is amazing how much work has gone into everything. Every time I ask Dr. Amerson, well, what about this? He's like, oh, well, we're going to do this. And I'm like, oh, I was trying to trick you or stump you. There's a lot of thought that goes into a lot of the policies that we make, and by no means are they perfect at all. And could they go further and deeper? Absolutely. And I appreciate the thoughtful conversations around it, because everyone has a different comfortability level with all of this. Our students are so happy to be back. Our teachers are, not all of them. I mean, some are still really worried, right? And I think that's a concern, and that we still have to address. Everyone's level is different, and we have to come to some type of agreement to a table to make this community work and move forward. And I really appreciate, all the hard work that the administrators have done, that the staff and the teachers have done to just prepare for back to school night. It may sound like just 2 hours, but there's so much discussion that goes into a 2-hour event like that. And just seeing all the different protocols and hearing what the teachers are doing to ensure the safety. Like, I think I went into a 4th grade classroom and they're like, oh yeah, we're reteaching them how important it is to wash your hands. And it's something so simple, but just the fact that our teachers are also pushing their students to relearn on how to be safe as possible. Even though, some students absolutely see the importance and the gravity of this virus, but our younger kiddos, they're just so excited to be back. But it's great to see that they're learning how to be safe in not a fearful way, which is really nice. And so I'm just really excited that we're back in school in person. I know it is a step in a direction, and hopefully, it progresses to something even greater. So thank you.
Thank you. I will echo some of the comments that my colleagues just mentioned, but I will say that I was surprised, but positive, a very positive way. The preschoolers at Maxwell School, the 3 years old, all of them walk into the classroom. The teacher is at the door. The kids at the second day, they knew what they have to do. They open their hands, they get the gel, the sanitizer. The little kids go like that. And then they go and wash their hands with soap. They clean up and they know they cannot, they don't have to touch nothing from the other kids. It's unbelievable. And I know that the teachers are doing a lot of work, but it's still, I think we still have to do a lot more. And I know that Dr. Emerson and the entire cabinet are working according with the rules with the Education Board of Education, County Board of Education. And you have to follow rules and rules, but something that really I agree 100% is mask on. That's I agree with that 100%. And sanitize our hands and make sure the cleanup, after we use something, especially if somebody else that we don't know is coming after us to use it. So I am very, very pleased to see parents that are coming to us and to prevent any more contagious of COVID-19. So thank you for your support on that. And with that, Dr. Emerson.
Thank you, Madam President. I realized something a moment ago. So as Board Member Koo was saying, she tries to stump me. I realized, I'm reminded that it would be extremely beneficial to thank my staff right now because, as a superintendent, I get lots of information. And my job is to generally understand every single nuanced dynamic of what's happening in the district, but they are the experts and they are the ones who are providing that information to me so I can provide it to the board so the board can feel confident in the decisions that you are saddled with making. And so I want to publicly thank them for the work that they do because it can sometimes be a very, very thankless job. And we can work really, really hard and then one thing goes wrong and that's the only thing that happened was the one wrong thing, not the 99 good things. But we understand that and we knowingly accept that as our responsibility. And so I just wanted to say thank you to them for that. And then I'm going to focus for one more minute on Board Member Koo because this is her first public in-person meeting since being elected to the board. And so I just want to say welcome aboard and welcome back again to Dr. Finley and Board Member Carroll as well. It is nice to be in this space with you all, to be able to have these conversations and be able to welcome people back to this podium to hear their concerns. Because I was reminded, I had a meeting this afternoon with one of our teachers who I respect greatly. Her insights, the length of time she's been in this district, I respect her deeply. And she reminded me that my job many times involves me operating at this 30,000-foot level, but there are things happening on the ground that I need to make sure I remember. And when you all come to this podium, you remind us of what's happening at the ground level. And so I don't ever want to forget that. And I also want to make sure that that we follow up where we hear those concerns and where we can improve, change, redirect, course correct, that we will work to do that, where we can build capacity around doing those types of things. So thank you all for that. And the last thing I'll say and then close it up for this evening is this morning I sent out a tweet, and the tweet read, a wise man once told me, go slow to go fast. And I said that right now in this moment, this is definitely a go slow to go fast period of time. What I mean by that is a lot of people in this world, including myself, I want it to be back to normal more than ever, but we're not there yet. And let's not rush haphazardly to try to get there. And another wise man once told me, you can't push a rope. No matter how hard you try, you can't push a rope. So the point is that we got to take our time and we've got to navigate this with a clear head and thoughtful actions and thoughtful activities and reflection and taking feedback and being open-minded to how we solve the problem of navigating a pandemic. And so thank the board for your leadership. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Emerson. And we need now move to adjourn the meeting in memory of Stella Messinis, longtime Duarte resident and mother of retired DUSD employee Velma Pratt. So I need a motion to move by Mr. Bell, second by Mrs. Carroll. All in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, Mercedes. Thank you, Dr. Emerson.
Thank you.